Who knows about Brexit?
Yeah, quite.
No one's got a fucking clue what Brexit is, yeah? You watch Question Time.
British actor Danny Dyer, famous for his blunt and direct approach, recently stepped into the spotlight again, this time taking aim at Labour leader Keir Starmer. Known for speaking his mind, Dyer openly expressed his dissatisfaction with Starmer's leadership in a recent interview, a sentiment that seems to be echoing more and more among the British public. Rather than a mere offhand remark, Dyer's criticism was a fierce, heartfelt expression of disappointment, a sentiment that's becoming all too familiar to many.
But my character's really smart, really switched on, and I'm sort of like a tech guy who's bringing over stuff.
Dyer was unrestrained in his assessment, unleashing a wave of pointed remarks about Starmer's leadership. He argued that Starmer's role felt almost gifted rather than earned, suggesting that Labour's current status had more to do with the Conservative Party's failings than with Starmer's achievements. This man was handed the role on a silver platter, so what's he planning to do to show he's any different? Dyer questioned, casting doubt on whether Starmer truly understands the needs and values of the working class. In Dyer's view, Labour has strayed far from its roots. A working class party, really? Where are the voices of the people it's supposed to represent? He challenged, pointing to Angela Rayner as an example of a politician who genuinely resonates with the public. Dyer questioned why someone like her wasn't leading the charge. His words reflect a broader concern among many Britons, who feel that Labour's leadership has drifted from the experiences and challenges faced by everyday people. Taking his critique further, Dyer voiced a larger disillusionment with Britain's current leadership. He expressed frustration at the lack of inspirational figures, arguing that the nation hasn't had a truly effective leader in years. Dyer even called out David Cameron, describing him as the last person who could be considered a leader, though he too walked away when his decisions faced scrutiny. When things went south, he just packed up and left, Dyer remarked, a feeling that many share across the country.
What it is, right? So what's happened to that twat David Cameron who called it on? Let's be fair.
This sentiment extends beyond just Starmer's leadership and touches upon a broader feeling of disconnection between political leaders and the public. Danny Dyer's critique resonated because it feels honest, unfiltered, and in stark contrast to the political rhetoric most people are used to. His words tapped into the growing frustration felt by the public towards politicians who promise change but rarely deliver. They're fiddling with the figures, raising taxes on the working people, and breaking promises left and right, Dyer said, condemning what he sees as a string of unfulfilled promises from leaders who continually place the burden on those least able to shoulder it. This critique doesn't come out of nowhere. In 2019, Dyer gained widespread attention after an appearance on Good Morning Britain, where he publicly denounced then Prime Minister David Cameron, especially in light of his role in the Brexit fallout. At that time, Dyer didn't hold back, accusing Cameron of running away from the mess he made and leaving the public to suffer the consequences. That outspoken stance marked the beginning of Dyer's journey as an unexpected voice for many frustrated Britons. In his latest remarks, Dyer questions how Starmer could claim to understand or even prioritise the needs of ordinary people while making decisions that seem to undermine his own promises. In particular, Starmer initially campaigned on protecting working-class families from increased taxes and preserving British farming. These promises, Dyer contends, have been broken, and he doesn't hesitate to call out Starmer for it. He openly accuses the Labour leader of duping the public with grand promises, only to backtrack once in office. For Dyer, this isn't merely political theatre, it's personal. He sees the impact of these policy decisions on everyday people, particularly working-class families and small business owners. Tax hikes, Dyer argues, disproportionately affect these groups, creating more financial hardship at a time when many are already struggling. He feels that Starmer's apparent disregard for these groups represents a significant betrayal, further alienating the very people who place their trust in him.
Everything should be done within international law, but I don't want to step away from...
Adding another layer to his critique, Dyer highlighted Starmer's strained relationship with international leaders, specifically with Donald Trump, now back in the global spotlight following his recent re-election as US president. For Dyer, Starmer's apparent inability to maintain a stable relationship with a key ally could have far-reaching consequences, from strained trade agreements to weakened security partnerships. In a world where alliances matter more than ever, Dyer questioned the wisdom of alienating a powerful leader like Trump, whose influence extends far beyond the US. This scrutiny of Starmer isn't limited to his policies alone. Dyer also commented on the perceived privilege and disconnect that seem to define many career politicians. The public is increasingly skeptical of leaders who appear to enjoy privileges unavailable to ordinary citizens while claiming to represent their interests. Dyer pointed to recent incidents where leaders were criticized for enjoying exclusive perks, which only deepens public mistrust. Dyer's remarks have intensified the conversation around Starmer's leadership at a time when disillusionment with the status quo is on the rise. In fact, his criticism comes amid a surge in support for alternative political figures like Nigel Farage, leader of the Reform Party. Farage's growing popularity underscores the public's hunger for something new, a desire for leadership that truly reflects their concerns and experiences. Many Britons feel that Farage, despite his divisive reputation, speaks more honestly to their frustrations than the mainstream leaders do. Even former Prime Minister Donald Trump, on a recent visit, commented on Farage's growing influence, noting his appeal to those looking for real change. "He's a bit of a rebel, but that's good," Trump said, reflecting a sentiment shared by many who view Farage's unconventional approach as a refreshing break from traditional politics. Dyer's words capture the pulse of a nation weary of empty promises. His willingness to challenge Starmer publicly has struck a chord with those who feel similarly disillusioned but may lack the platform to express it. His outspokenness, far from being dismissed as a celebrity outburst, represents the growing frustration of a public that feels unheard and neglected.
That these two characters are in very loveless marriages, so they're drawn to each other.
As Keir Starmer faces mounting criticism, calls for greater accountability from leaders are becoming increasingly urgent. Danny Dyer's critique, despite its boldness, strikes a chord with many for its authenticity, capturing the voice of a public that is hungry for real change. Dyer's challenge to Starmer and others emphasizes the need for leaders who prioritize the public's needs, serving as a stark reminder that true leadership goes beyond words. It requires tangible actions and integrity. Dyer's disapproval of Starmer isn't just directed at one individual. It reflects a broader discontent reshaping the political landscape across the UK. In an era where broken promises are no longer tolerated, Dyer's voice resonates as a call for genuine change, urging leaders to live up to their commitments and rebuild the trust of the people. As always, feel free to share your thoughts on these important topics in the comments below. And if you haven't already, you're welcome to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay informed on important issues. Thank you for joining us today, and see you in the next video.